You're listening to Combat Radio with Ethan Dettenmeyer, right here on LA Talk Radio.
All right, welcome back. We are having a few laughs with Disney legend Bob Gurr, the man who put together, if you enjoy the ride, the Haunted Mansion, the monorail, the submarine ride, the Matterhorn, this is the guy that built it, along with the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, Godzilla in the rather god-awful Godzilla movie, but the Godzilla was cool.
Right.
And then, of course, you know, the man who made Pirates fun at the Treasure Island Resort Casino for Steve Wynn, sinking and raising pirate ships and blowing everything sky high. Pilot, designer, man of epicness, Bob Gurr, joining us yet again. So he's also a bit of a, what do you call it, masochist in a sense, where you keep coming back here?
You could call it that, but to me it's very, very entertaining because this is the only room I've ever been in where people come and go, you have no idea who they are, and then after you leave, you find out really who they are.
And I say it constantly, I have no idea who anyone is either. I show up and I'm like, oh, yeah, good to meet you, let's do a show. And
right.
that leads to all sorts of radio greatness. But also joining us for this round of the conversation, two of our favorites, two very, very gifted individuals. A good friend of ours, Tara Platt, from everything from Shelf Life to The Call to Scandal, which my wife loves that show. I can't stand it, but really I know women love it. I think it's like General Hospital. It's a storyline out of General Hospital, 1985. But you know what
General Hospital you were watching.
But I got it. Well, I was watching obviously a pretty good one.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to compare it to today's Scandal ratings. But truth be told, though, great performer and I would say a bit of a producer too. You guys have done your own.
Yeah, we have our own production company, and so we're always creating content as we go.
And you're here with one of our heroes, Yuri Lowenthal, of Ben 10, Young Justice. My kid actually was sitting right next to you and didn't realize who you were until a moment ago.
That's the magic of voiceover stuff. You know, nobody knows what you look like.
We fly incognito.
She pointed it out last night. She goes, we were watching an episode of Young Justice where the prison break with like Icicle Jr. and she goes, yeah, that's your friend. You know, she reads the credits now because she, you know, and I was like, yeah, how about that? You know, he's not just Lagoon Boy.
That's right.
He's also the villains.
I know.
You know, tough being you, man. Tough being Yuri Lowenthal these days.
I'll tell you, not so much. Although it's funny, you know, we say that nobody ever recognizes, and we were at Disneyland yesterday.
We were, and we were on
sampling,
the Haunted Mansion.
Sampling your stuff.
We were there yesterday.
No.
Oh, get out.
We got to stay in better contact. And I was with Bob there Monday. That was the day to be there.
That would have been the day to be there.
Yeah, so go ahead. I didn't mean. So you're at Disneyland.
No, we're on our way out of the park, and somebody yells "Tara," and recognizes her. You know,
it does happen occasionally.
It does happen
very,
occasionally.
very infrequently.
Nice.
Only if you're at Disneyland, because it's a place where everyone's happy.
We went to the Haunted Mansion yesterday. It's one of my. You know, when you go, there are certain rides you have to. Yeah. You know, each person has their own.
Because we have to get some hitchhiking ghosts. I mean, if you don't do that, your day is not complete.
Right. Plus our other friend, voiceover legend Corey Burton, is the guy you hear off the top. So it's.
I see how you guys are.
Now we've met Bob.
Yeah, so
the circle is complete.
I rode Haunted Mansion with Bob Monday, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was terrified. I was like, "This is so crazy! Get me out of here!" But he was just explaining that for charity, they did a thing where they shut the ride down and did a dinner in the hallway leading up to the ride, and he was they replaced the cemetery watchman with him. He was the guy with the lantern and the.
Oh, you are
shaking.
Well,
see, Bob's a bit of a trickster. You got to keep your eye on Gurr.
Okay.
Right.
You know, you got to keep an eye on him because he's very rascal-like. You know,
I can tell.
But
from here.
You know, it's funny because we were having lunch Monday, and he sits back and he goes, "You know, I got my start delivering newspapers during the war. Was it during the war or during the Depression?"
No, during the war.
During the war, and
the second war.
The second war.
I'm not that old.
No, I know. But you were saying that, you know, and I had to deliver papers to Lon Chaney Jr. Wow. And who, Creighton, as he was really known, Creighton. Lon Chaney Sr. is probably, I'm not an actor, but from just an entertainment standpoint, Lon Chaney Sr. was probably my hero in terms of being a guy who can seriously become somebody else. And you would not even believe he was the Hunchback and he was the Phantom, and you go, there's no way. But you said that he would show up and he'd say, okay, I'm going to make you the same deal I made the last kid. When you knock on my door, whatever I have in my pocket, you get.
Oh, wow. The movie people in those days, this was like in 1943, 44, 45, that period of time. And that was in Studio City, just a couple of miles east of where LA Talk Radio studios are. And it was
Thank you.
It was always very fascinating because we had Lon Chaney Jr., we had Remember Frog from the Gene Autry sidekick, Smiley Burnett?
Oh, yeah.
We had Josephine Dillon, who was the first wife of Clark Gable, who was his voice teacher, drama teacher. A whole bunch of other people, a lot of producers, but they're all in a very small area. In those days, the movie colony lived in just ordinary houses back in that period of time. But they were all tricksters. Lon Chaney had this gag of you knock on the door collecting for the Hollywood Citizen News, which is like $1.25 a month, and he says, "Well, kid, I'll give you all the change in my pocket. If it comes over, fine. If it comes under, well, that's your tough luck." You go talk to Josephine Dillon, and here's this retired actress who kind of got dropped by the wayside, and she'd always see you coming and want to give you some iced tea or cookies or something. And it always wound up, she was showing me photos of how beautiful she used to be and the movies she used to be in.
That old trick with the paper boy. Yeah, they're still using that.
This is going.
Oh yeah, there was another lady that did that a lot, and I kind of felt sorry for her. She was Ma Hardy in the Hardy Boys.
Oh
series.
wow!
And but.
Back when it was Ma Hardy and not Mrs. Hardy.
Right.
Or single mother Hardy as it is now.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. She was kind of sad, but I knew if I took the money and ran, she'd be sad. So it was like I had to spend an extra 20 minutes collecting the money because she always had new photos to show me. We had guys like Big Boy Williams. We had Hoot Gibson. Every one of these people were characters. A lot of these names, people wouldn't know them today unless you went on Wikipedia and looked them up.
Buster Crab. You said you had Buster Crab?
Yeah,
Buster Crab.
Flash
Buster
Gordon,
Crab,
man.
Yeah. He kind of lived in a not quite so nice a house. He lived next to the North Hollywood stables, next to the river there. So
Down by the river?
Yeah, down by the river.
Hard times when Flash Gordon got canceled, huh?
Yeah, in North Hollywood and Studio City, we had actual real rivers. You know, nowadays it's all freeways and channels. You know, but,
you know what? It says a lot about you, Bobby, and so gracious to take the time to look at the photographs and give these people their moment with you, you know, like showing you the pictures of themselves. It's just like you do today when you come by the radio station and you say, okay, I'll listen to you talk for a half hour or 45 minutes or whatever time I got. And I know you're a busy guy, but it's nice to see you're still the same gracious individual you were when you were delivering papers to Lon Chaney Jr., And he's a guy who, like yourself, he enjoyed a cocktail once in a while. A little more than I think you enjoy a cocktail. I mean, he was known for really being a connoisseur and cheap vodkas.
I could sort of sense that because there were several people. They'd come to the door a little slow and a little on red-eyed look, and had hard time finding.
It's 4 in the afternoon.
And now sometimes it's earlier in the day. They'd have a hard time trying to find the money in the house.
Right.
You know, so I figured, well, there's a lot of people in the movie business probably have some personal troubles or something, and.
That's a nice way of putting it.
When he was doing all those Universal Monster Machine movies, the joke was you couldn't smoke around him because it might ignite a fire. No smoking around. That's my own. Okay, never mind. But right. he was known for having a good time. I was going to say something in related to the trip these guys took to Disneyland yesterday. I forgot. I can't believe I was there too yesterday.
I can't believe that.
That's ridiculous.
Shoot. And you know what? I should. I had all these passes too. I had all these jump the line passes that my friend gave me, and we were leaving with them. I was like, I could have handed them to you guys.
Wasted. That's
only I had known.
I know. It's like having cash on you almost.
Right? Yeah. It's worth more than cash at Disneyland.
So you guys were doing Haunted Mansion, and
we did Haunted Mansion.
Any other rides that Bob may have had a hand in?
Soarin', California. Did you do California Soarin'?
California Soarin'?
No.
Yeah, that was Tara's first time doing California
I don't
Soarin'.
do particularly well on rides. I get a little, I don't know, I have a hard time with
crazy?
movement. Yes, I get a little crazy. So I have a little bit of a
bonkers.
hard time with movement. And so things like Haunted Mansion where it's omnimovers, is that what they're
Yeah.
called? Those are better for me because it's just constant. Whereas if it's really shaky, I don't do so well with my inner ear. And so I was being very brave. And so we did Haunted Mansion. We did Soarin', California.
California Soarin'.
What was the one that Mike and
we did
Sully?
Mike and Sully.
Mike and Sully
Save the Day or something. The
Yeah.
monsters.
Which these are like children's rides,
Monsters,
but
Inc.
I was very proud
But
of
you have to
myself.
start somewhere.
Exactly.
Tara. You have to take
Exactly.
those steps. Okay, it's
Exactly.
like let's try this. It's a small world.
Right, and I
if
wanted
that goes okay.
I know, but he gets so mad at me because I want to do It's a Small World every time. He's like, I will not listen to that song.
That song drives me nuts. I'm sorry.
Well, one of the designers of that has done this show a few times too, Rolly Crump, who also had a hand in the Tiki Room and Adventureland.
Yeah.
You know what I was going to say? I was going to ask you a question, Bob, not about the Brad Bird movie you're working on now, but what she's talking about with the Omnimovers, that's something you actually designed for that Journey Through Inner Space, right? The Monsanto's propaganda ride of where they go through, like that wasn't the same design. I mean, you're laughing, but I mean, that's essentially what it was. Like,
well, I suppose if we take the sponsor's money and then we use it as the theme of a show, you could call that merchandising propaganda.
Of course.
Most people know the Omnimover from the Haunted Mansion, but the Haunted Mansion was actually the second time that we used that same machine. I think we got about a dozen Omnimovers in various iterations around the world at some of the Disney parks.
We must find them all.
But at the time, there wasn't anything that was a high-capacity ride where the viewpoint of the guest could be directed into the scenes. Usually, if you're in a vehicle, it was rigid and pointed the direction it was going, and then you had to move your eyes around. But people who remember the Monsanto ride, the gag there was that you were going to go in a microscope and you were going to be shrunken down until you were down as small as a nucleus of an atom.
I want to go on this ride.
It's gone. It's now Star Tours.
Star Tours.
That was there for quite a number of years, but it was the first time that you had a vehicle that you could sit in it and it was kind of captured you and had speakers right by your ears. And you could use a lot of imagination as the scenes that you were going through. And, of course, shrinking down into as small as a nucleus, the narrator had this strange voice. I'm getting smaller. Oh, I'm shrinking.
Help me!
They'll do the voices for you.
So at that time, there were certain chemistries of life that were not made by Monsanto. They're made by other people.
Sure.
That were used on that ride, and folks would go in there and either toke up or
sip. I'm sorry, what was that? What was that verb? Toke? To toke? That was the verb you used right now?
And with the image,
drop
with
acid.
With the imagery and the motion of the vehicle where it was moving around in different directions, people came out of there going, "Woo! I like this ride."
Right.
I just want to hear Bob tell stories for us time. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, Bob, just tell some stories, would you? No. Hey, when I go into your house, like I said, you got that Mr. Toad's car. You got one of the original Mr. Toads
really?
in like your living room. And it's one Walt, we suspect, it's one of 12, so we suspect Walt had been on it a few times. When are you going to get some Omnimovers like around your dining table? Like everyone sits in an Omnimover
for dinner. Turn to dinner.
Yeah, we could just kind of turn, and then it can take us in front of the TV.
And then it goes to the fireplace.
Like yeah, where's the Omnimover contraption in your home?
Well, there's a number of fans that you go to their house, and they've got they got Space Mountain vehicles, they've got people movers, they've got Skyway cars, Autopia cars. There's people that collect these things and restore them. Wow. Well, there's one guy down in Costa Mesa. He's got 2 people mover cars all rigged up so that the doors open and close, the roof opens and closes, and it has the spiel and the lights and everything. He has a little trailer that he takes it around to various displays.
Bob, where do you get those? Is there a black market for Disney vehicles and Disney cars?
A black market. Where can we get hot Disney parts?
No, it's called a green market. Disney gets the money from selling these vehicles.
Oh, well, that's good. At least it's not literally.
What turned out back in the 80s, the fan clubs are growing at a rapid pace, and people were starting to collect things. And after a while, Disney saw that, we don't need to take this stuff to the junk pile.
Right.
We can sell it.
That's
so they would, like at one time, all the Mark 7 Autopia car bodies, we had, I think, 180. They sold them all.
That's amazing. So they're making money after they've already made their money on them.
Oh, yeah. And then people buy the car bodies. They build their own chassis. Sometimes they're gasoline, sometimes they're electric. And these vehicles keep on going. This one family down in Costa Mesa, people go out in the backyard and they have picnics in the cars.
Oh.
Are you talking about the marijuana farm?
No, so
Back to where the marijuana, you guys had to take the marijuana out and put the Matterhorn in. Is that story? I'm sorry, I stepped out.
no, so Disneyland had a Disney eBay site where they would put these vehicles for bid.
I was going to ask where you even go to find stuff like that.
Well, they go on eBay. So Disney periodically will sell stuff. In fact, I saw pictures of a monorail vehicle, a Mark IV monorail that I did originally in 1971 for Walt Disney World. They sold the whole car, and I wondered, what in the world are you going to do with this? A guy bought it, and he's in a little town in Georgia.
I saw that guy.
Yeah.
Really?
I folled that. Yeah, go continue with your story. That's interesting. Yeah, I
well,
saw that. It was really aggressive.
And this guy's got this, and he parks it at a little historic railroad station. It's on a truck trailer, but he's never bothered to do anything with it. But he's got it because he just likes it, and he just sits there and he looks at it.
Wow,
that's crazy.
So he didn't build a little stand, like a little monorail type stand to sort of perch it on. It's just on the back of a truck trailer.
He doesn't drive it around his yard like like a miniature track, so he can kind of take it around.
Monorail.
It's more of a Shelbyville idea.
Very
Simpsons.
nice.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I
I knew where you were going.
right there with me.
We're like that. I got it. But speaking of monorail stories, you got one of the best ones where you not only burned down half of Tomorrowland on a test run, but
exciting.
You took off with then Vice President Richard Nixon. Before the glow of Watergate illuminated him to the public.
Like I said, just Bob, keep talking. Just keep talking. We'll keep listening.
Oh, you want to hear the story about
Yes, please.
But Bob, can you tell it like you did at the campfire that one night, where you were bringing your Democratic leanings into the conversation? Can you get political just for a bit?
Well, long story short, I had a chance to. Completely to get rid of Richard Nixon, so he could have avoided he could have avoided Watergate. So, no.
That's not political.
Nowadays when we build
personal.
a new attraction, we test and adjust it maybe a year. Make sure everything's working right.
Sure.
But in the
we appreciate that.
In the early days, we were doing everything very, very fast. So this is the first monorail in America. And I'm not a licensed engineer, and I'd never ever seen a monorail like that. But Walt wanted me to build it, and so we built it in 8.5 months.
Whoa.
And we put it down there 2 weeks before opening. We're going to open it, and we started to test it every day, and it broke down every day. But the day before the ribbon cutting, the train had only gone around one lap successfully. So I stopped it right where we're going to cut the ribbon.
Right.
Anyway, in the afternoon, there's going to be a 90-minute live black and white TV show, which means you don't do stuff with editing. This is live. Everything's got to work.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, this train will be able to drive off. If it drives out of the scene and they got their shot, we're done. Here comes 11 o'clock in the morning, hot day. Oh, my gosh, here comes Walt Disney. Here comes some of our security. Oh, no, here comes Richard Nixon, Vice President of the United States. Oh, he's brought his wife.
And his wife. Is that how you said it to me?
How dare he?
And his wife and those two bratty little girls.
Damn these Republicans.
And then they had about 5 serious-looking dudes with them.
Sure.
And had little triangular, little yellow and green emblems on their lapels.
The Illuminati?
Well, probably, but yes.
These were the SS.
Oh.
Yeah, Secret Service, yes.
Not the
other SS.
Not the other SS.
I was about to say, I thought the war was over.
Anyway, Walt wanted to show this train off because every time Walt had something nobody else had, Walt was so proud. His had a smile on his face and the eyebrows would go up. So it was very, very hot. So he says, I want to show the inside of the train to my friend Dick here. And so I went, give me a minute. I got to turn the air conditioner on so I get the train cooled down. So we get in the train. So we all get in the train and we got all introduced all the way around. And then Walt says, well, Dick, as you know, I drive the steam trains here because I like steam trains. But this new electric train, I let Bobby drive this because it's new. And then he says, and give him a ride. So I just drove off, didn't say a word to anybody on the radio, and in those days the monorail would leave the platform, make a right turn, then a left turn, come back down over the subride. Nixon could see that all of the Secret Service were on the platform, which meant none.
Were on the train.
None were on the train, and he had some very choice four-letter words describing the situation. And at that instant, I could see that I just kidnapped the Vice President of the United States. Well, the worst part was we had...
You were in collusion, though, with Disney.
Walt Disney. It was sort of his fault.
Well, yeah.
It was sort of his fault.
Yeah, I could have saved that Watergate stuff, see if I'd done it. Well, the problem is we hadn't figured out how to get out of a burning monorail yet, the exit procedures, particularly over the subride, because you got to get ladders in the water or something like that. And that's where he noticed that there's no Secret Service in the train. Oh. So we drove around, came back to the platform, and I was so relieved because I put the train right back where it was because I did risk that train just to do that drive for Nixon. And the Secret Service was running toward the train to get in it, and then the girls said, let's go again. So I gave them another ride, and then the platform, as I go by, the Secret Service is running with it, trying to jump in it. So I go around a second lap, which I can't even remember. I was really distraught. Because this is really going to be bad. Came back around, everybody got out, and Nixon led us down the down ramp, turned and looked back up there. All the Secret Service are sitting in the train. And my opinion of Richard Nixon's Secret Service was, I can't use bad enough language to describe it.
What about the part in the ride, though, Bob, you told me where you were cruising and Nixon was like, this is such a thrill for me to be on this monorail. This is such a feat of human engineering and achievement. I'm so thrilled to be the first to ride it. And you looked down and he said, well, actually, we had Kennedy on it last night. He actually got the first ride. This is just a token thing. What about that part of the ride, Bob? And boy, speaking of Kennedy, what a man, huh? I know who I'll be voting for in the future. Can you tell them all that?
Well, I do remember the handshake. When you shake someone's hand, you have pretty good feeling. But that was some of the coldest family handshakes I ever got out of anybody. Was Dick Nixon and his wife and the little girls there. That was just you could just tell that Mr. Nixon's life was not going to end well.
Wow.
You're listening to Combat Radio with Ethan Dettenmeyer, right here on LA Talk Radio.